the laureate from Yale, Mr. Schiller, and the non-laureate from Wharton, Mr. Siegel, really squaring off. And there's not only a historical outlook here of an archbull in Siegel versus the archman of caution and exuberance, Robert Schiller, but the idea of valuation of confidence and the bubble that's out there. Let's first go to Tony Dwyer of Canaccord Genuity. Academics love to do this. They love to talk about a bigger, broader theme almost ex post. Do you just assume that most bubble talk is an after-the-fact discussion?
And by definition, it has to be. How can you be in a bubble? You could be in a bubble for, as Alan Greenspan found out, from 1996 to 2000.
And never know it.
Well, he knew it, but it didn't matter.
No, but this is critical on a chart with moving averages. By definition, a moving average is an after-the-fact look at the market.
Correct.
That's no different than what Professor Schiller or Professor Siegel are doing.
You cannot invest on whether it's a bubble. If you look at the trend of valuation,
right,
it's up. So it doesn't matter if it's 2 times or if it should be at 2 times or 200 times. You wouldn't fight that trend.
Brendan, this goes back to the heart of the matter, which is guys in the trenches are looking at trends always, and the academics go away from that and look at broader, bigger pictures.
Yeah, that's actually part of what I'm learning to do on this show, is that I started my career writing about academics and talking to them, and then I get on this show and I discover that evidently they don't matter. But we actually have Dr. Alvin Roth right here with us, and what I'm curious about is that, you know, every time we talk about Robert Schiller now, we append those 2 words as a prefix in front of his name, Nobel Laureate. When you get that prize, when they put you on Mount Olympus with the rest of the gods, what happens? How does your opinion become more valuable? How do people treat you differently?
Well, journalists seem to think that you know everything.
Yes!
But of course, we only know what we know. So I think that part of being elevated to being a Nobel laureate
sainthood is the word you're looking at.
Means being more careful about what you say.
I mean, does that happen at home too, where, you know, when you ask for something, that your spouse says, well, well, is that the Nobel laureate asking for this?
Or? Sweet generalization, Nobel laureate.
When you look, Alvin Roth, at the phrases of the moment, the things we hear from Professor Krugman, from Professor Stiglitz of Columbia, or for that matter, from Professor Schiller at Yale, how much can we dovetail the world of academics into the world of Mr. Dwyer?
Well, as you said, it takes us a long time to know anything. The difference between journalists and historians is a little like the difference between journalists and academics. We don't study the news. We study what's available to study, which is longer-term data and trends and institutions.
Which is after the I think he's blaming the media for this.
It is generally our fault, but I think it's also part of how economists see themselves academically. I have been told that the worst thing you can tell an academic economist that he's really just a sociologist.